We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.
This is Multipolarity, charting the rise of the new multipolar world order. Coming up this week.
Hezbollah has been decapitated. As the turban falls off Hassan Nasrallah for the final time, we'll be assessing whether anyone will pick up the crown of Jihad they find lying in the gutter.
Meanwhile, British Foreign Secretary David Lammy is reportedly spending a third of his daily time planning an operation as big as D-Day to resettle displaced Lebanese in Europe. After the bombs fall, the refugee deluge dawns. After Ukraine, after Syria, can Europe even cope with the latest wave? And what does it say about Lammy that he can plan D-Day with only a third of his time?
Finally, in Austria, the party that spurred Europe's original Nazi panic, Jorg Haider's Freedom Party, has come top of a national election 15 years after his death. This should be a moment of high moral drama, but in the year of Geert Wilders and Marine Le Pen, it just feels like today's deja vu. Are we inured, and should we be?
Of course, what with it being a premium week and all, most listeners will be like a European Social Democratic Party. Excluded.
So get it while you can, or get on Patreon and sign up.
But first, the grand opening of the Northern Front. The weekend just passed, as we record this, has seen a significant escalation in the conflict in the Middle East between Israel and assorted anti-Israeli militias and states. First of all, hot on the heels of exploding pagers and walkie-talkies, which apparently caused quite a few civilian deaths, as well as killing or maiming Hezbollah troops, leaders, policemen within Lebanon. The Israeli Air Force has struck and killed the leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, obviously a very high-value target and has been targeted for assassination by the Israeli state for many years now, but finally it appears that they have managed to assassinate him, if the reports are to be believed, and I see no reason why they aren't to be believed. In addition to that, Israel is striking other targets in Lebanon. It appears very much that they're engaged in battlefield shaping operations, attacking command and control as a prelude to an invasion of southern Lebanon, which is something that has been mooted for quite some time now. It also appears that the Iranians look set to up the ante. It may even be that the president of Iran falls by the wayside for his lack of response, and certainly it seems that Iran has been unable to establish or maintain any kind of deterrence against the Israeli state. The response to the Israeli strike on the Iranian consulate in Damascus in Syria clearly didn't establish any kind of deterrence, because Israel has managed to assassinate since senior Iranian personnel, which again was not responded to at all, apparently in some effort to secure a kind of ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, Israel and Hezbollah. This has entirely failed. Now the Israelis have targeted the leader of Iran's number one proxy in the region. This is reaching a dangerous moment of escalation. There's a very clear chain of escalation, very obvious chain of escalation that would lead to a broader Middle Eastern regional war, which would potentially draw in outside powers. The chain of escalation goes something like this. Israel can't live with either Hezbollah or Hamas and tries to destroy them. Hezbollah is Iran's premium proxy asset within the region and gives Iran significant power in the Middle East. Iran feels that it cannot lose, and if it feels it can, then it would respond to try to support it with as much as it possibly could. This, of course, is unacceptable for the United States and is unacceptable for Israel. So you get direct war between Iran and Israel, potentially drawing the United States in. Certainly if Israel looked as if it was going to be defeated, one would have thought that the United States would definitely get involved. If Iran looked as if it was going to be defeated, it's entirely possible that either Russia or China could get involved, because Iran is their most significant ally in an area of strategic importance for the world. So it's very clear that there's a chain of escalation here. It's what people have been concerned about from the start. And I think that it would begin, that chain of escalation, it would begin if Hezbollah, which, as I said, is Iran's number one proxy agent within the region, looked as if it was going to fall to defeat, looked as if it was suffering significant losses. And I think it does at the moment. State of Israel or state of Palestine, or what should be between the two of them, I don't know. I don't have a dog in this game. But it seems to me that the Israelis are currently in the process of a hugely effective attacks on the command and control apparatus of their enemies. It's as simple as that. They're doing extremely well. And I think at this stage, it's almost certain that Iran will get involved if it feels it has the capacity. Maybe it feels it doesn't have the capacity. Maybe it feels that it's just lost at this stage. I don't know. But I think that, at present, once they make sure that their pages or their mobile phones or their walkie-talkies aren't going to explode or aren't going to be tapped by Israeli intelligence or US intelligence, once they secure that kind of operational security, they will respond. And how successful that response is in terms of the damage that it does to Israel will dictate where we go from here. We're at a very dangerous moment. We're at one of those inflection points that I don't think we've felt in this conflict since probably October, November last year. Philip Pilkington.
Yeah, I think we can say quite a few things about this. First of all, as you said, the strikes themselves, taking out, it seems like, a good portion of Hezbollah's senior leadership, have been very effective in their stated goal of taking out Hezbollah's leadership. But there may be issues with that. I'll go into that in a moment. We do kind of know how and why this was done at this point. There's been some reporting as of the day of recording. And basically, Hezbollah operated, like many of these types of groups in the Middle East and elsewhere, in a highly secretive manner. They had, they didn't use mobile phones. They were very cautious about meeting together. A lot of their leadership structures were very secretive, etc., etc. Not much was known about the organization. Apparently, when Israel lost against Hezbollah, or at least struggled, shall we say, in 2006, they changed tactics to try and figure the organization out using their extensive intelligence capabilities. And my impression from reading the reporting is that probably wasn't going great. It was probably going like many of these operations go, sort of mediocre, until the Syrian civil war. And the Syrian civil war pulled Hezbollah in. And as they were fighting, actively fighting, engaging with forces on the ground, Syrian forces, Syrian intelligence, Russian forces, Russian intelligence, it became quite obvious how the organization was structured. So although Hezbollah gained a lot in terms of fighting experience in Syria, which was one of the goals of fighting there, listeners are being cut off right now because they haven't paid to access the premium content. Once every 4 episodes, we'll put out a premium episode where we discuss really spicy, juicy tidbits that we don't discuss on the normal show, but we charge for the listener's pleasure. So if people are interested in this extremely mysterious bucket of brilliance, they should probably sign up now on Patreon and unlock the magic content. It's extremely simple to sign up. Just go on Patreon and search Multipolarity, and you can sign up immediately for $5, euros, or pounds. You can cancel any time, but obviously we have minimal cancellations because the content is so juicy and so cheap. So I'm really sorry to the freeloaders who aren't going to listen to the rest of the show, but if you'd like to join us on the other side of the velvet rope with all the beautiful people, head over to Patreon now and sign up.